Hello, and welcome to the Burnt Pancakes podcast. For those of you who are new, I am your host, Katie Fenske. I'm a mom of 3, and I share my momversations about all things mom life and the craziness that goes along with raising these 3 boys. For anyone who's returning, you know the drill. I'm here to remind you that everyone burns their first pancake. Now, on today's momversation, I'm not talking about my first pancake. I'm talking about my 3rd. We just went through what I would consider a very big motherhood milestone with my 3rd. And I just want to chat today a little bit about what it's like when the baby of the family does something like for the last time. So, backstory. This weekend, we just moved Maverick, my youngest, into a toddler bed. And even though there's been the last time I breastfed or getting rid of newborn clothes, I feel like handled those okay. There was something about him being out of a crib that kind of shook me a little bit. And it was hard. I know throughout life and throughout motherhood, I'm going to face these all the time. Like he's going to start kindergarten. He's going to be done with preschool. He's going to go off to college one day. And I'm going to have to go through all those transitions. But one thing you need to know about me from the time I was a child, change has been hard for me. So of course, when my last one moves out of the crib, I don't know, just something felt very final about that. I don't know, maybe the crib is just like a symbol of having a baby and knowing that our crib is now sitting on our side yard. It feels weird. My grandma, so my mom's mom, had 13 kids. And I remember my mom saying once that she used to make comments that something didn't feel right when there wasn't a baby in the crib. I mean, she had a baby in the crib for like 20 years, but I get that feeling now of I'm officially done with the last of the baby stage. So way back 9 years ago, my husband and I bought this crib for my older son. We went to Ikea. We got a very simple crib. It was like the natural wood color. So we stained it. He wanted it to look a little more like industrial rustic. So we added metal legs. We did reclaimed wood on the side. So we spent a lot of time on that crib. That crib has also seen my older son, my middle son, my youngest son. So the fact that all 3 of them have slept in it was a big deal for me. As I was kind of looking at the crib on Saturday, I still noticed their bite marks when they were just tall enough to reach the top and hold on to the top. They all 3 of them would make little teeth marks in the top. And so seeing those was oh, my babies. It was really hard. But I mean, he is plenty old enough. He actually has stayed in a crib the longest. So Ronan, my oldest, I think we moved him out when he was 3 because we needed it for Jet. And then Jet wasn't even 2 years old when we moved him into bunk beds because Maverick was coming and we had to get him ready. He did just fine. He had no problem. Ronan, on the other hand, we were able to keep him in a crib till 3, or maybe it was just before 3. It was right around 3, we moved him out. But he was the one that crawled out of the crib and we'd have to go put back in. He actually, when he was just before 2, right before he was 2, we had to live with my mom for a couple months because we had sold our house and we were looking for a new house. So we stayed with her and he was in a pack and play. And that's when he learned I can hop out of this crib, no problem. But I just kept putting him back in. Nope, mommy takes you out. Nope, mommy's the one who gets you out. So we managed to keep him in a little bit longer. But Maverick, he has never once tried to come out of the crib. I've never even caught him trying to go in and out. I think once he told me, oh, if I put my leg over, I hurt myself. So he must have tried it once and got didn't feel so good. And he's just been in his crib. If he didn't want to take a nap, I would still put him in the crib and he'd be just fine. So part of me was oh, we haven't moved him yet because he's just doing so well in it. We don't need to. Plus all 3 of my boys sleep in the same room. So knowing that he was contained, he wasn't going to run around the room. He wasn't going to play with his brothers while they were trying to go to sleep. I think I convinced myself that he needed to stay in the crib just because he was doing fine. But when my husband kept saying, hey, when are we going to move him out? Hey, when are we going to move him out? It hit me. I don't know if I'm keeping him there because he's doing just fine, or a little piece of me just wasn't ready to be done with my baby. But he'll be 4 in December. So it's clearly time. It's time, he's going to be fine. So this weekend, we've been kind of like prepping him. Hey, you're going to sleep in a big boy bed. We're going to get you a new bed. We had a toddler bed from Ronan. It's been sitting in our garage for the last 6 years. So we had a bed, but we didn't have a mattress. So we all went together. We picked out a mattress at Ikea, our favorite furniture store for kids. We went to the store and he really wanted Spider-Man sheets. We got Spider-Man sheets. We rearranged the room because having 3 boys in one room is tight. We had to condense the hampers. We're only going to use one from now on. But I like having them all in the same room. They stay up longer than they should, but just hearing them sometimes laughing and giggling back there is very sweet. And then when it gets close to 9 o'clock and I'm like, go to bed, it gets kind of annoying, but we have them all in the same room. So Saturday we got all his sheets, we got all his things, we rearranged the room, we set it up, and he did just fine. My baby does not need to be in a crib anymore. He slept all the way through the night. When he woke up, he said, Mommy, I'm ready to get up. And I went into the room and we got him. So he transitioned just fine. I think I did okay too. I think building up to having him in a crib, or having him out of the crib, was a little bit harder than the actual act of taking it out of the room. I did have a moment when my husband was unscrewing the screws that I was like, oh my gosh, my babies. But I know there's going to be plenty of these transitions. He's going to go off to college one day and I'm going to have a hard time with that. But I also, on the bright side, was like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. He's going to be in preschool this year. I'm going to have a total of 9 hours all week when all 3 of my kids are in school. And that, after 9 years of being home with these kids and trying to get stuff done, I'm like, that sounds amazing. I've already booked a couple coffee dates with some friends. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. After these big motherhood transitions, there is good to look forward to. I mean, I do look back and I'm sad my babies are growing up, but I am excited about what's coming. My kids are starting to play sports now, and I look forward to when Maverick gets to play when he's old enough, it's going to be so fun. So I kind of help myself get through these transitions by looking forward to what's to come and what the next stage is going to bring in life. So, other transitions that were hard for me, I would say when I stopped breastfeeding Ronan, my first, it was not in the plans. I planned on doing it for a year and that just didn't happen. And it was really hard for me to let go of that. I remember I specifically told my husband, I can't be the one to go to the grocery store and buy the formula. I just could not do it. So I made him do it the first time. Once we got through it, it was fine. Another transition, it was not hard for me to send Ronan to kindergarten. Jet started kindergarten this year and he did great. I did great. It was fine. I think it's when Maverick starts kindergarten that's going to be whoa, they're all out. They're there. We recently put our stroller in. My husband just built a shed and we tried to move stuff out of the garage to store, and we moved the stroller in there. And that was another one symbol of baby going away. We just don't use it really anymore. So that was another weird one to see the stroller. I was kind of let's not get rid of it just in case we need it. But another one that it just felt weird to say goodbye to those baby years. So if you are a mom transitioning to a new stage, whether it's leaving the baby stage and having kids, if you have kids and you're starting to see yours turn into teenagers, or you're getting ready to send yours off to college, I think motherhood is just going to be an endless journey of transitions. And the way we roll with it is going to dictate how we handle it all. So I think I handled this transition pretty well. Deep down, I was kind of sad, but I didn't show that. I showed how excited I was for him, how proud I was for him to, be a big boy. But inside I was a little bit crumbling. And hence why I'm telling you all about this, why I'm sharing on my Momversation about how I went through it. But I hope if you are going through a transition, you reach out to me because I want to hear from you. So if you are a fan of the podcast, come find me on social media, subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave me a review. Let me know what transition has been the hardest for you. And until next week's Momversation, I want to remind you that everyone burns their first pancake, so just keep living.